In this short video is actually a follow-up of some descriptive work that I did about forums and using groups within the context of forums to provide discrete discussions. That is, providing groups in a course site in Sakai the ability to have discussions around the same topics with smaller groups using the group function inside info. So I want to follow up with that because I failed to mention, well, how do you get that sort of to work inside of a lesson area as a follow-up? Once you've gone through in the discussion area, you've created your sites, or sorry, you've created your groups inside info, and then you've modified or you've provided that information inside of the groups by way of topics or by way of the discussion forum areas. The next thing, if you're using lessons, then is to go through and insert the links to those topics or, for example, to those forums so that those individual groups can get to their stuff. So if you've watched the other video before, then you may recall that in week 1 we went through and set this up so that we've got very, very discrete groups that are all they're all groups of about 5 or 6 students, and these students are all discussing the same questions or the same topics, but they're doing so in smaller groups. And so within the context of the week, then it appears as if there are so many discussion topics, and really in a sense there are, but it is really around some of the same sort of content. And you may have recalled that when the student actually gets to that particular week, when they have been assigned to that group, they only see their topics. What I failed to mention in the video prior is, well, how do you get there from the setting up the groups and setting up the forums? How do you get that to sort of work its way and magic into the lesson area? So to do that, then we're going to look at week 4 in this particular course because it's the next course, or it's next week that actually has discussion forum topics. And I've already set up the groups and I've set the permissions on the week 4 topics and forums. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just simply scrolling down to the discussion area, and you can see that in the discussion area I already have 4 topics, and if you notice, there's already each of these is derived around that particular group that's been specified. Now I notice that this particular topic here from your interview, what one suggestion would you pass along, doesn't have a reference to a particular group, and that's probably because this particular topic, when I was going through and doing those settings, I didn't designate it correctly. So I'm going to pause the video real quick and go and do that, and then I'm going to come back so you can see what that looks like. So I've switched over here to the forums area, and I do want to actually show this to you because if you remember just for a few seconds ago, there's the 4 topics, and the topic that talked about from your interview, what's one suggestion? I think that's the right one. Yeah, there was a permission setting sort of incorrect. I'm going to look at one of these that has the settings set the right way for the topic. And in here you can see that the instructor is the owner, the student is set to none, the teaching assistant is set to contributor, and then all the other groups are set to none except for the group that I want to have access here. So contributor, if you need to know what that looks like, you can select the customize area, and you can see the contributor is basically someone who has new conversation reply, read, mark as read, edit messages none, and delete messages none. Those are the permission settings. But what I want to do here is I essentially need to correct or adjust the ones for that other topic. And so I'm going to go back here to the week 4 SAM, and the one I need to adjust is this one here from the interview. So I'm going to go to the topic settings, and you'll notice if you remember from what we just said here a second ago, that if we look through here, students are set to contributor, and we want that to actually be set to none because we want only the SAM group to have access to this topic. And if you look down here at the different topics, you see that in fact SAM has been set to none, and so I actually need them to have contributor access. Okay, so we're going to hit save there, and now we're going to flip back over to the actual week 4 content, and it should hopefully update pretty quickly here. So I'm going to scroll down, and you can see now that particular group now has a designation. Now what I like to do is when I'm setting this up, you could either set these up so that you have the same topic, or you could have all the same group listed here. For the student's perspective, it doesn't really matter. From the instructor's perspective, if they're going through and grading these or using these links to get to the grading stuff, it might make more sense to either keep the groups together or to keep the topics together. In this case, I'm going to try and keep the topics together. So I'm going to use the insert content sign over here, add new item, and I'm going to add another item above this item here, and I want to add the next topic. So I'm actually going to add it's sort of the next topic, but it's the next topic for the next group. So we're going to add what have you learned from your experiences as the topic for the next group. So let's go ahead and click the plus sign here, and we're going to select link to a forum or topic. And we're going to look for that in week 4. So here's week 4. We have Sam, we don't have Frodo. So let's look for that here. There we are. And then we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and hit selected item. And then we'll scroll down here. And now you can see that we have Sam and Frodo. And so now we'll actually, for that particular topic, so now we'll do the next group that's in week 4. And I really have to give credit to the instructor that actually designed this because they did a really, really good job of trying to make sure they specified you know, which topic goes with which group in the actual forum, you know, sort of listed information and that sort of thing. Really has helped. So we'll scroll down here and add that one, and then we should be able to see that we have now Sam, Frodo, and Gandalf. Now we just need the Aragorn one. So we'll hit the plus sign again and go to link forum to topic, and then we'll scroll down to week 4 for Aragorn and look for that particular topic and use that selected item, and then we'll go on from there. So you can see here now that so long as you know, so long as we're actually adding these and we've specified our groups, used that site info area in the groups area, that this does actually really provide a really neat way to provide discrete discussion forum groups using the group function inside of Sakai.